when you come down to college, your doors open up. There's all kinds of activities that you're involved in. And among them are parties, alcohol, you meet girls, you meet guys. Everything was going great until all of a sudden it wasn't. I had a client who chose to come to UNCW for school, moved here on his own, as most college students do, 18 years old, fresh out of high school. This particular client hooked up with a girl at a party. He understood her to be liking him. He liked her. There was lots of flirting, kissing, to the point where they actually spent the night together. He played on a sports team, and he gets a call from one of his buddies saying she said she didn't consent. He calls his parents, and we start discussing the events of the evening. He was under the impression that everything that they did was consensual. There was no no's said to him. She chose to say the next morning after she sobered up that it wasn't consensual. It's tough. We want to believe that females in that situation are always going to tell the truth. From there, we had to start figuring out what exactly was her motivation and was she believable? Had she done this before? And we found out all those things. She wasn't believable. She had a mental health breakdown. She had PTSD from prior experiences where she had been assaulted. There was just like all kinds of things when you start asking questions you come up with and you see. And there was also an accusation against another guy in the past that was unfounded. And even the police officers that interviewed her, they weren't sure, but they had to do a police report. Now it's, gone to the DA, and the DA was trying to decide whether to press charges. Investigations like this can go on for months, knowing that he could be charged with something very serious and just adamantly denying that it ever happened or that it wasn't consensual. And so they're living with that. Meanwhile, you've got the alleged victim, and then you have their parents who weren't there. They are on the sidelines saying it did happen, which is dangerous because their child may have not told them the truth. And so that gets tricky. Once you're charged with something like this, media grabs it, they get your mug shot. Sometimes it gets in the papers. It's on the public record. It is now out there for all to see. You've got people that are saying, oh, this person's a rapist. People are judging, they're labeling. There's just all kinds of stuff that goes on with just getting charged, not being convicted. It's a difficult situation for a kid who's a freshman in college and he's trying to just live his life and go to school and all that. So it's a big win if we can show at the front end, get in there early, because once it gets actual charges, you get served with a warrant, you have to go to jail, you have to bond yourself out. But it's there until either you're convicted or either it's dismissed. People that are innocent in these kinds of offenses, they're like, I don't have anything to hide. A police officer calls them and says, hey, we want to talk to you about this. Come on down. They'll go on down. They'll start talking. But the thing is, because they don't know the system, because they don't know what the investigation is showing, they don't know a lot of things, they'll go down there and just paint themselves in the corner. And depending on the officer, detective, or whomever is listening to this, maybe that it comes across in the police report differently. I used to be a prosecutor in these types of cases. You have to be very careful how you handle these, and you have to know the minute details of everything. You have to jump on these cases immediately. It's just, these are real tricky cases, and people want to say, I don't need a lawyer in this, but you really do. We got a private investigator involved in this particular case, just trying to feel around, and just found a lot of credibility issues, a lot of things that just didn't make sense. And when I talked with the client, he gave me evidence and witnesses. He had roommates, and they heard things and they saw things. And what they saw and what they heard did not jive with what she said. It just didn't make sense. So by getting like as deep as you can possibly get with someone about every single move they made during this time, we were able to put it all together. And what made sense was that it didn't occur. It was consensual. And with the information that we provided, the DA looked at all of it and decided that she couldn't move forward. He never was charged. That's the best thing that could possibly happen. There were no charges that were brought. Once I got that formal writing that charges would not be brought, I immediately called the family and discussed with them. We were successful, and they were so relieved. They cried, they were happy. I mean, just imagine the worst thing ever. And then someone saying, okay, not really. So yeah, big relief.